Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be introducing some new content to the channel, and this was content that I had planned on creating ever since the origins of my channel just a few months ago when I started uploading videos. And so I've always wanted to make content on a subreddit called WallStreetBets. I'm sure that most of you are familiar with it, but if you're not, it's a pretty awesome place where a lot of people don't really take investing or options very serious. And it's not your typical investing. It's not just someone buying shares and holding it for the long term. A lot of them do options, which are like puts and calls. For example, if you buy calls on a stock, that means that you think the stock will go up in like a certain amount of time and reach a certain price point. And if you buy puts, it's the opposite of that. So you're buying that options contract hoping that the stock price will go down to a certain amount or go much past that. And a lot of the times, if your options contracts are successful, if the stock growth or lack of growth follows through with your options contract, then you can really make a lot of money, especially if it goes way past the strike price. So in a nutshell, WallStreetBets is just a place where people post a lot of memes about investing, and it's really just a more casual, laid-back community for investing. And I know a lot of people would consider it not even really investing. A lot of people say options are gambling. I do think you can make some intelligent decisions with some options plays to make some money, but it is a lot more risky than your typical investing. But like I said, WallStreetBets is basically just a place where everybody jokes and memes about stocks and stuff like that. And it's probably my most favorite community online for the stock market because some of these others are just a little bit too boring. Everybody takes it too serious. And it's about time we have more casual investors in the market that can just joke around about stuff and not take life too serious. So anyways, with today's news, my video is going to be about a recent play of a user on WallStreetBets, a Shopify play where they made $1.6 million off of like a $350,000 investment. And before we jump over to Reddit where we see his post with the screenshots and stuff, just to address Shopify stock itself, if we go ahead and look at it, it's a little bit over 1,000 right now. It actually skyrocketed recently. A lot of this growth in the past month is thanks to the most recent announcement with the Walmart deal. Shopify has actually partnered up with Walmart for their e-commerce section of their business, and that's absolutely huge. So it started, I think that announcement was on June 15th, so there was already a little bit growth in mid-June, and then once that June 15th announcement came out, then we just saw this grow exponentially even more. And for this to be a stock in the stock market over the past 5 years, Shopify has had some of the craziest growth. I think this is probably the highest growth chart that I'm aware of on Robinhood. I know there's probably some others out there as well, but this is the most amount of growth that I've seen out of any stock on this platform for the past 5 years chart. So as you can see, this stock is up over 3,000% just within the past 5 years. And just 5 years ago on July 3rd, this stock was worth $31. And now that same $31 share is worth over $1,000. So there's been so much growth for this stock just over the past few years. And for those that purchased this stock at that low price, they made lots of money. It's kind of similar to the Tesla with the Tesla term Teslanaire, which is basically a person that becomes a millionaire just from the Tesla stock growth over the past few years. And Stephen Mark Ryan from Solving the Money Problem is one of those people. So just like Tesla, many people that invested in Shopify have become millionaires because of this. And this includes the WallStreetBet user that just recently posted his gains on Reddit. So let's go ahead and jump over to that post. Like I said, I have done top 5 videos in the past, and Shopify has been in some of my top 5 videos. I've always thought that there's a lot of potential with this stock and this company, even though it does have a lot of critics. I think it's similar to Tesla, where if you look at the potential, it's there. And yes, it's at a premium right now, but I think it deserves its value. So Shopify has been one of those stocks that I've realized has a lot of potential in the future. And honestly, with my portfolio right here, as you can see, I only own 3 main stocks. This 4th one is a free stock. So with my investment strategies, I like to concentrate my wealth and my investments into a small number of stocks rather than just simply diversifying, because when you concentrate your wealth, you can gain a lot more. Like for example, my portfolio is up 4% today because I have my wealth concentrated in only 3 main stocks, and Tesla performed very well. So with Tesla being a big part of my portfolio, it has a really positive effect on my stock growth for that day compared to, you know, your typical 1% growth or something that I would probably get if I just invested into VOO. And I've always thought as my portfolio gets larger, if I were to add another different type of stock to my portfolio rather than just investing more into these three. If I were to add a new stock, I would probably either add Amazon stock or Shopify stock. And that's kind of a big deal for me to add a different new stock to my portfolio because it's something that doesn't really happen and I don't really plan on doing so soon. But like I've said in past videos, I said if I were to add one, Shopify would definitely be one of those choices. But anyways, I wanted to mention all of this because it relates to this WallStreetBets user as well, because he has a similar strategy to what I'm doing right now with investing. And the interesting thing about his investment play is that he's actually investing. He's not doing options this time around like a lot of other WallStreetBets users, but he's actually investing and he purchased shares. So with this being said, we'll go ahead and jump over to the Reddit post. And as you can see, he says, I held on so I could share this with the community, heart emoji, and then the peace sign. And he posts this right here. And it says his position was that he owned 2,000 shares with a market value of about $2 million, an average cost of $176.63, and it takes up 99.95% of his portfolio, and his total return on owning this stock so far is plus $1,652,430.80, which is a 467.75% gain, which is absolutely crazy. And just keep in mind, he wasn't even like one of the first initial investors. This was at an average cost of $176.63. So keep in mind, like on that past 5 years chart, just within the past 5 years, 5 years ago on July 3rd, this was like a $30 stock. So just keep in mind how crazy the profits would be if we were looking at like a $1 million investment at $30 per share. That would be absolutely insane. It would be like some of the craziest Tindy plays I've ever seen on WallStreetBets. But with this being said, we'll go ahead and jump over to his other screenshot as well. There's nothing really new right here, but it just shows his investments for the day, what his day is looking like. And that goes back on to the strategy that I mentioned that I do with my portfolio as well. So in basic terms, just to round everything off, approximately 100% of his portfolio is pretty much Shopify stock. I know it said 9.95%, so there's like a 0.05% missing that's invested into something else. But just to keep it consistent, let's just say 100% of his portfolio is in Shopify stock. And this is one thing that I really want to talk about because I think it's such an underrated investment strategy. But the key factor to concentrating your wealth on a small number of investments is that you have to be really good at stock picking and you have to be willing to hold for the long-term vision. Of course, there's always nothing wrong with cashing out early. A gain is a gain no matter what. But that's the thing, if you want to concentrate your wealth on a small number of stocks or a single stock, what you really have to do is make sure that this is the correct decision and that it's almost guaranteed you're going to make money from it in the future. Because if you put 100% of your portfolio all into one stock and it doesn't perform well for you, or it underperforms, or you simply lose a lot of money, then that's a huge negative impact not only on your net worth if you put a lot of money into the stock market like I do. Straight up 100% of my net worth is in the stock market, so I put my money where my mouth is and I only invest in 3 main stocks, so I can kind of understand this concentrated portfolio, and I'm definitely a more open-minded person to that strategy because I feel like a lot of people kind of criticize that strategy because it is risky. But if you're an investor that really did their research and has confidence because of their research, because it makes sense and is pointing to growth in the future, then there's a lot of potential to make money there. But keep in mind, anything that I say or have said in this video is not to be considered financial advice. This is me just sharing my thoughts and opinions about the market and stocks like Shopify. But I honestly think the concentration of wealth into a small number of stocks rather than diversification is a very underrated strategy when it comes to investing, because you hear from a lot of the big guys like Warren Buffett and just many other more reserved investors to just buy and hold index funds or ETFs like VOO that give you about an average return of, like, let's say 10% per year. That's really what's considered the average. So you get slow but consistent growth. And I used to use that strategy like many months ago, like in my earlier days of investing back in like December and January and February. But what I've realized is that as long as I do my research enough to make sure that I'm pretty much going to be correct in my investments, then there's a lot of potential in making a significant amount of money just by concentrating your wealth rather than diversifying where you only get about 10% per year. But like I said, you have to make sure that you're getting solid growth stocks that are performing well that will beat the average of 10% per year. And you do take on a lot more risk and stuff like I mentioned. But I definitely think that strategy is pretty underrated, and it really did work out in this scenario for this one person. They put basically their whole portfolio just into Shopify stock, which is definitely a ballsy move, but when it does work out, and it works out because you did your research and you had the confidence to make that play, then the investor definitely deserves some credit. And I just want to say mad props to this dude for, one thing, having the mental fortitude to put his whole portfolio on this one stock, because it definitely seems like he did his research and he had that long-term vision. So I just say all props to the guy. And honestly, I like to see people buying shares on WallStreetBets, because WallStreetBets is mostly known for options, and I've just never really been an options guy. With my logic with the stock market, if I think a stock is going to perform well, I would rather just purchase the share, because worst case scenario, the stock goes down in value and you can sell it for some small amount of money. It may not be what you paid for, but at least you can sell it for some amount of money, unless it just gets delisted for fraud or something like that. But with options, you can pretty much lose everything, and that's kind of the thing that I like to avoid. I haven't really done much with options. I know I made a play on space with some swing trades just a few months ago and made about $4,000. I could have done options on that, but I was just much more comfortable holding shares. And so it's pretty cool to see like a big time investor from WallStreetBets actually investing and buying shares rather than just the typical options that you see there. So I just thought that was cool, especially as a person that just buys shares. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I just think that Shopify stock is very interesting, especially with the most recent deal with Walmart. That was huge. And as you can see from this article from corporate Walmart, it says that the US e-commerce business grew 74% in total last quarter, and growth in the marketplace outpaced the overall business even as first-party sales were strong. Then it says, as we launch this integration with Shopify, we are focused on US-based small and medium businesses whose assortment complements ours and have a track record of exceeding customers' expectations. And then it says, growing our marketplace is a strategic priority, and we are going to be as smart as we grow. We will start integrating new sellers now and expect to add 1,200 Shopify sellers this year. Shopify has a long history of helping small businesses leverage scale, and we're proud to be a part of this solution. So I really do like this stock, because for one thing, it has really kind of changed the culture of business startups, because in the past it has been pretty difficult to start up a business, especially an e-commerce business, and now pretty much anyone in America that has some funding and of course the product can start a Shopify business and make a lot of money. I mean, especially if you look at this chart within like the past year or so, 2018 and 2019, drop shipping with Shopify became huge. Drop shipping is like such a popular topic, especially in the YouTube community, and it's enabled a lot of people that would not really have had any big opportunities like that to actually make some money and do things that they would never be able to expect to do in their lifetime because of this new e-commerce platform. And just in terms of Shopify being business startup friendly, to where things aren't as difficult as they used to be, and if someone has a solid product, chances are they're a lot likely to be more successful, because this time around it's a little bit easier for those people to actually do a startup and be successful with it, because it's not as difficult as it used to be. So I definitely think there's a lot of potential for this stock in the future. There may be some sort of correction or dips or volatility in the future, given the fact that Shopify has skyrocketed recently because of the Rona situation, and because Shopify excels in an environment like this, whereas other businesses do much worse in an environment like this. So it kind of shows that Shopify can withstand a lot more than your typical retail stores and average companies. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button and let me know that you enjoy this WallStreetBets content. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and finally I have the time to do it. I pretty much have my taxes done. I just know what I need to pay now, and now I actually have time to grind some videos out. And also, if you would like to begin investing, feel free to use my referral link to Robinhood and Webull in the description below. If you sign up with those links, then we'll both get some free stocks, which is pretty awesome. It's passive income and it helps support the channel here. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Stay safe out there.